Sustainability Senior Manager, will conduct this session. Gabriela de la Garza is a Mexican citizen and the Sustainability Senior Manager for PepsiCo Latin America Beverage. In this position, Gabriela is responsible for the resource conservation and environmental compliance programs for the plants and offices in the region, an occupational health and safety regional program, and leads environmental community programs such as the Eco Challenge within TIC Americas. Before this position, Gabriela was a consultant for the Multilateral Investment Fund at the Inter-American Development Bank, and before that, a junior professional associate at the World Bank Group, both in Washington, D.C. At these positions, Gabriela worked on corporate responsibility, sustainability, good corporate governance, and bottom-of-the-pyramid projects. In 2011, Gabriela was awarded the Harvey C. Russell Inclusion Award for coordinating a rapid, effective, and excellent relief program in response to the Haiti crisis. Gabriela has a bachelor's degree on marketing and business from the Instituto Tecnológico y de Estudios Superiores de Tec Monterrey in Mexico, as well as several corporate responsibility and sustainability courses. Now, Gabriela will carry on with this virtual session followed by a Q&A session to answer all your inquiries on PET recycling. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you very much for that introduction to YBT. So what I wanted to do today was a very quick introduction of recycling in Latin America, focusing on plastic recycling. So I want to talk to you a little bit about PET, which is the main topic that we're going to be discussing, what PET is. Then we'll go into how do we recycle PET and what are the opportunities we have for recycling. Then I want to go and show you very quickly the streams of recycling to showcase the implications of recycling one way versus another way. And finally, we'll go and talk about the challenges, going back to the Eco Challenge. That is what brings us here today. And I'll be very happy to take questions after that. But let me start with PET. So I don't want to make this very technical, but very quickly, let me start with what is PET. And PET is short for polyethylene terephthalate, which is a plastic resin and is the most common type of polyester. Basically, it is two monomers, which is modified ethylene glycol and purified terephthalic acid, which are combined to form this polyester called PET. It's what we know in short, PET. And basically, PET was discovered and patented in England in 1941. What you can see on your screen is just the chemical combination, the chemical formula combination of what PET is. So starting very technical, but we'll go less technical as we move on, I promise that. PET is what we commonly known as a bottle for the beverages that we drink, for many of the products that we use at home. They are made out of PET. So PET is a transparent, lightweight, strong, safe, shatterproof, and recyclable packaging material, which has an inherent barrier which makes it suitable for a very large variety of product applications. Basically, packaging, the role of packaging is to protect the product that it contains. The reason we use packaging for many products in different industries is because we want to make sure that the final product that gets to a consumer is safe, it is complete, it has maintained all the features that it originally had, and it has all the benefits intact. So this is what PET does. It's actually a great use of PET. It delivers the product the way it is intended to be delivered to the final consumers. So PET packagings are made in two ways. The first one is they're blow molded to create bottles, like bottles for drink products, or It can be in the way of a thermoformed sheet, which can create bakery containers, for example, so a flat piece of PET. So you can make it into a bottle by putting it inside a mold, or you can make it into a flat material for boxes or different materials, different products like baked goods. So that is PET. PET is very commonly known, as I said before, in most of the beverages that you use, and we'll go into showing you how can you recognize PET from other materials. So PET, normally you can find a symbol, all the PET products, you can find a symbol at the bottom or on one side of the product, which is a recycling triangle with a number 1 in the middle, and that is the symbol for PET. As you can see it in your screen, that's a short for PET, and that is what you will find in most of the PET products in the market. It is labeled with this number 1 code because it is the way it is recycled, or its code for recycling. You can normally find this on the near bottom of the container, on the side of the container, as I said before. PET, it's great in the way that it can also be recycled into many new products. So PET can be used to make new bottles, for instance. So you can finish drinking your drink, and that same bottle can be recycled. Not the same bottle, but it would actually be converted back into resin and be combined with new virgin resin to create the same identical product. But it can also be made into fiber for carpets, fabric for t-shirts, so the t-shirts that you're wearing today, that could have been made from PET. Fleece jackets as well. It can be fiber fill for sleeping bags, winter coats, dog beds, industrial strapping, other kinds of packaging, auto parts, such as the headliners, bumpers, door panels. So as you can see, PET has many, many uses. So it can be recycled. It is actually one of the most recycled materials in the world. I think that is second only to aluminum. And PET doesn't only have one use. It doesn't only become another bottle. It can become many, many different things. It also has social uses, as I will talk about as we go further into this presentation. So having told you a little bit about what PET is, what it is used for, and how we can recycle it, the next the next slide is going to show us the recycling stream. And I really want to spend a few minutes here because I think that it is important to understand how our choices as consumers can make a huge difference in the recycling stream and in the effort that it takes to recycle any product. So as you can see at the very top of the screen in front of you, we have a product with PET packaging, which then becomes a consumer product, which means it goes to the market, somebody like you or me buys it, then we consume that product, and after we have consumed that product, as an example, let's use a water bottle. So when we finish drinking our water and we have the bottle, we have 3 choices. We can dispose it in a recycling bin if we have something like that available, or we can dispose it in the regular trash in our houses or in the office or wherever we are, or we can dispose it in an unmarked place. And by unmarked place, I'm being kind. Basically, I mean we can dispose it the wrong way. We can dispose it the lazy way. But let's go through the implications of each one of these recycling streams. So in the first one, it's the best one. So it's the number 1 preferred for recyclers and city managers around the world. When we dispose PET in a recycling bin, it is the easiest stream. It goes directly to the collection of recyclables done either by the city or privately, depending on the country where we are. And then it goes directly to our recycling company for reuse, and it can be transformed, as I just mentioned to you, into another bottle or into paint or into fabric. However, the second stream, if we dispose this item in regular trash in anywhere anywhere in the world, in our houses, in any location, in the university, at the mall. This is one of the most complicated collections afterwards, because after we dispose of it in the trash, it goes obviously mixed with organics, it goes mixed with other materials that are not recyclable, and it could get contaminated. But even if it doesn't get contaminated with the other organic materials and general waste, it will go to landfill. Once it goes to landfill, it is only by manual separation that it can be separated and collected for recycling. So once it is in landfill, in many of our countries we have waste pickers that go into landfill to separate and collect PET to then sell it. But that is one of the most difficult operations, if you've ever seen it, one of the most difficult tasks that I've seen ever done, one of the most difficult jobs that I've ever seen done, digging through the trash to find PET when we, the consumer, could have just put it in a recycling bin or separated at home, which is the easiest way to do. So after that, waste pickers sell it to recycling companies for reuse. Like I said, all of the reuses that we discussed before. The third one, which is, I would say, the worst one. As you can see, there's a pattern here. We're going from the best one to the worst one, to the worst kind of disposal. So the last disposal is the worst one. So one of them is when we, as a consumer, we throw it away in the city, or we throw it away, we throw it away on the street, in the river, somewhere that is not marked and that is not the correct place for waste or for recyclables. So when that happens, and when the final product, the PET packaging, ends up on the street, on the river, or wherever it may end, there's two things that can happen. First one is that it's causing a cost, an added cost to the city, so to our governments, and to basically our taxes are going into cleaning programs for the city, into supporting larger city cleaning programs for people that have to go and clean that up manually. And then they do normally manual separation. Again, country by country, this will vary, but normally they will do manual separation of recyclables, and then they'll sell them to recycling companies for reuse. The other thing that can happen when PET packaging is disposed in an unmarked place is that it is collected by waste pickers directly. So many of you must have seen, if you live in Latin America or the Caribbean, you must have seen people going on the street collecting recyclables, collecting materials from the street that they can then sell. So then they'll do also manual separation of this material and sell it to recycling companies for reuse. Again, this is also a very, very complicated method. If you see on your screen, the method on your very left, the first one that we discussed, is just the shorter one. It's the easiest one, is the less costly one, and is the one that we as consumers should be choosing and electing. It's the one that makes the most sense. But the reality is that in Latin America and the Caribbean and in many other places around the world, the second and the third disposal ways are actually the most used ones, unfortunately. And this has a lot to do with culture and with creating those habits in people, in population, and we'll discuss that a little bit further. But this is what happens with our recycling stream in Latin America and the Caribbean. So then I have only a few minutes left, and I would like to finish this discussion with going back to the Eco Challenge. So the Eco Challenge this year is proposing PET recycling as one of the challenges. So it's giving you the opportunity to find some very innovative solutions to PET recycling that can, I'm sure, then be applied to other materials and will not be just specific for PET. But as we are focusing on PET being part of this industry, we wanted to really challenge your minds and think about three things for this challenge. So the first one is we've just gone through the whole recycling and collection cycle. The first challenge would be, how can we improve that? How can we collect PET in a more organized way? How can we make the second and third disposable streams that we just saw easier? And how can we avoid having to go through all those steps and manual separation and waste pickers in landfill and all those issues we just saw? How can we avoid that and do a more effective collection of PET materials? The second challenge that is not only for us, but it's actually for the industry and for our regions and our countries, is how can we develop a recycling culture in Latin America and the Caribbean? So many of the issues that we discussed previously for streams 2 and 3, those 2 and 3 very, very complicated and long recycling streams, they could have been avoided if there was a stronger recycling culture in our people, in our population, in our governments, in our institutions. So how can we develop this recycling culture in Latin America? And the third challenge is, can we find new and innovative ways of reusing PET for social good? And I'll give you two very quick examples here, as I was mentioning from the very beginning. There's a lot of social innovators out there that have started finding more innovative ways of reusing PET, not because the actual ones are not good enough, but because there are other ways that we can also reuse PET and have also a social effect. So for example, Liter of Light consists of using a bottle of Pepsi, 2 liters, filling it with water, then some chlorine, filling the bottle and installing it in the ceiling of a house, and it will reflect the light as if it was a 70-watt bulb. Or PET has also been used a lot in the South Cone for the construction of houses. It can actually be converted into construction material and serve to construct the house. So there's many, many ways and many other ideas that social innovators have brought to life, and that is the third challenge that we would like you to think about when you're thinking of this PET recycling challenge. And with that, I finish this presentation, and I would like to open the remaining of the time for any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sylvia. Gabriela, now we're open for Q&A sessions. We have already one question regarding the PET recycling and the bottles. So it says, I've seen in my country many plastic bottles with the PET symbol that was shown in the presentation with the leaf on the left corner. Do you know if these bottles take less time to biodegrade?
I'm sorry, so the question is if PET takes more or less time to degrade than what?
She says on the question that she sees the same symbol on the presentation with a leaf that says plant-based plastic 100 recyclable. Her question is if this kind of plastic bottles take less time to biodegrade in comparison to other PET bottles.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you for repeating that question. Now I'm clear. Okay, so PET, you can make it biodegradable by adding a substance that will alter the chemical composition of the bottle. You can add a chemical to the mixture of PET, and it will biodegrade. It will make the bottle biodegradable. However, that use in PET is limited because the FDA is the Food and Drug Administration of the United States, and it rules most of the large multinational companies, foods and beverages multinational companies. And they have not approved the biodegradable addition to food and beverages containers, PET containers. So your question would be applied to PET containers that do not contain food or beverages. And yes, that would be very easily biodegradable. However, I would like to put also a thought on your head. So biodegrading our PET could be a great option and a great idea, and I'm sure in a few years it will be FDA approved and we'll be able to use it. However, when you think about how PET is made, it comes from oil, from petrol. And petrol is a non-renewable material. So what you are effectively doing when you are adding that chemical to the composition of PET is disintegrating the PET, making it into air, changing its composition from PET to air. Thus, you are not reusing that material, and you're losing a non-renewable material. This is just a personal opinion, and I would like to put it on your head and your kind of make you think a little bit about these challenges as we are at the industry level. What is it better for nature? Is it better to reuse a non-renewable material so many times that you are actually reducing the stress on this non-renewable material, or is it better to ensure that it's not going to be disposed in a wrong way and dirtying our streets or rivers or whichever stream it ends up by biodegrading it? So that's just a thought and a question for, I'm sure, a lot of discussion.
Thank you, Gabriela. So the next question is, what is the cost implication for providing light to one household?
That is a very, very good question. So the actual cost